What's up, everybody? It's your old buddy Hardworker 12, and today I have a 2022 Honda Civic Sport Sedan, and I'm going to review this car for you. We're going to have a look at the engine, since it is a sport. We're going to have a look at the styling. We're going to measure out the cargo space, look at the passenger room, look at the convenience features and the safety features on the vehicle. Now, as always, if some of that sounds interesting and some of it sounds boring, check the description below for timestamps. Now we'll have a look under the hood of the 2022 Honda Civic Sport, and we have a 2-liter 4-cylinder engine with 158 horsepower and 138 torque. One thing that is slightly disappointing is there is a more powerful 1.5-liter turbo option on the new Civics, but you have to get an EX or a Touring to get that particular motor. I kind of wish they would have put the more powerful engine into the Sport since it is a sport, but this is what you get. Moving on to the styling of the 2022 Honda Civic Sport, I do think this is a pretty stylish car. The Sport model gives you the 18-inch gloss black wheels. It also gives you black mirror caps. You wouldn't necessarily notice that on this particular car because the whole car is black, but regardless of paint color, if you get a Civic Sport, the mirror caps are going to be black. The window trim is also chrome on all the other Civic models, but on the Sport it's black because that's a little bit sportier. And on the exterior of the Sport, you do have the chrome finish exhaust tip. Now, when it comes to the styling of the 2022 Civic in general, I think it does look nice. I like the front end, especially the low, flat, kind of long hood, the front headlights. I think it looks particularly good there. Towards the back, I do wish that the sedan model had a little bit more of a traditional sedan profile, but I'm a big fan of sedans. I feel like Honda does kind of try to make their sedans look like hatchbacks to make them a little bit more appealing to people. But I prefer the look of sedans, but it's not a bad looking car. The taillights, I think, don't look quite as nice as the headlights, but overall the 2022 Civic and the Sport model in particular are very nice looking. I also like the interior styling quite a bit. You have this nice honeycomb look for the air vents that goes all the way across the dash. That is a nice touch. You also have aluminum pedals on the Sport model, and the upholstery on the Sport is slightly different from a base model. So the interior is very nice looking to go along with a good looking exterior. Now I'm going to use my laser guided tape measure and measure out the trunk space in the 2022 Civic Sport. The length of the trunk with the back seat in place, 3 feet 1 inches. The width of the trunk at its widest point, right at the back of the trunk, 4 feet 9 inches. The width of the trunk at its narrowest point in between the wheel wells, 3 feet 5 inches. The height of the interior of the trunk is 1 foot and 10 inches. The length to the back of the front seat with the back seat folded down, 5 feet 6 inches. Also, it's not a split folding back seat in this car. It's just one fold, which takes a little bit of utility out, but you can still fold it down if you have a large item to put into your Civic Sport. And if you need to lift something into the trunk of your new Honda Civic, you are going to have to lift it 2 feet and 2 inches. Just for fun, we'll look under the floor of the trunk. We do have a compact spare tire and the tools. It's just a donut, but hey, at least they do give you a spare on a new Civic. Now we're going to have a look at the passenger space on the 2022 Civic. For this test, I like to use myself. I'm 6'5", so let's see if I can sit behind myself in a Civic Sport. Okay, so I fit, but kind of barely. As you can see here, my knees are pretty much not touching. I have enough headroom in the front at that adjustment. And if I get out and sit in the back, I feel like the thumbs up I gave on camera might have been a little premature. I can fit back here. My legs, my knees are right up against the back seat, but the headroom, the sort of fastback roof line does cut into the headroom, so my head kind of hits the roof. But overall, pretty decent passenger space in the Civic Sport. We're going to start with the convenience features on the Honda Civic Sport, and I'm going to start with the key. We do have remote engine start right here on the key. That comes included with the Sport model, so you just push and hold that little button and it will start the car remotely. You also have what they call walk-away auto lock. So you can touch the door handle. It's kind of like the smart key system that's become very common on a lot of different kind of cars. But apparently if you walk away with the key in your pocket, it will also automatically lock itself. Personally, trust is not one of my stronger qualities, so I have not been using that feature since I've had this car. Now moving on to the interior features of the Honda Civic Sport, it has all the stuff that you would expect: power windows, mirrors, locks. One thing that's not available on a Sport is a manual transmission. They all come standard with a CVT, but the Sport package does give you paddle shifters. Apple CarPlay and Android Auto are standard on this car. However, you do have to plug your phone into the USB port to get it to work. If you want the wireless CarPlay, you have to move up to the Touring model. However, one strange thing is there's only one USB port in this whole car, and it is the one, of course, that you would use for the CarPlay or the Android Auto. There's no USB-C ports, there's no USB ports in the back seat. There is a standard 12-volt power outlet up front that you could plug a standard cell phone charger in. My understanding is if you move up to one of the higher end models, you do get more USB ports. Single zone automatic climate control is standard as well. If you want heated seats, you have to move up to an EX. The Sport does give you an upgraded 8-speaker 180-watt sound system that sounds pretty good. If you want Bose premium sound system, you can move up to a Touring to get that. The gauges are sort of half digital. The speedometer is analog on this car, and then the other half of the gauge cluster is a digital screen. It's not that customizable, but it does look very nice. It shows you the tachometer, and then you can change other settings and stuff on the left side of the gauge cluster. The touchscreen in this model is a 7-inch touchscreen. Again, if you move up to the higher trim levels, you can get larger touchscreens with factory navigation system. Now let's talk about safety systems. So standard on all new 2022 Honda Civics is the automatic braking, lane departure warning, lane keep assist. The multi-angle rear view camera is standard as well. You do get adaptive cruise control with low speed follow, which can bring the car to a complete stop when you have the adaptive cruise control engaged. Thank God Honda kind of got with the program on that one, because for a long time their cruise control would disable itself under 20 miles an hour. You have traffic sign recognition, so it will tell you what the speed limit is where you are. If you want blind spot monitoring, you're going to have to move up to an EX model or a Touring model, and the Touring also includes parking sensors. That's the only new Civic that has the parking sensors. So anyway, thank you so much for watching my review of this 2022 Honda Civic. I hope you enjoyed the review. Please like the video, subscribe to the channel, leave a comment, all that kind of stuff, and have yourself a fantastic day. Bye-bye.